The first thing we want to do is open up with a prayer. So I want to have our minister, Brother Matthews, to come up and we'll open up with a prayer. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Let's pray. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be your name. We're so grateful for gathering here this day to be informed better some of the things that we need for the body. And we pray for each one who shall give their presentation. Lord, we thank you for Sister Deans, Brother Deans, and your daughter for getting this program together. Let your grace go with each of us this day and throughout the rest of our lives. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Just a little short introduction. A lot of people were asking me, well, how did this come about? Actually, it came about 15 years ago. I was diagnosed with sarcoidosis. It's an autoimmune deficiency, similar to lupus. Some people never even heard of it. And about 15 years, I was diagnosed about 20 years ago. About 15 years ago, someone blessed me to find an herbalist. And I started taking natural healing methods. I started eating right. I started exercising. I started doing everything this person told me to do. And I also became more spiritual, which helped me to even focus on doing what he told me to do. And it helped me so much. And I started sharing the word with everybody that I know. Anybody that I came in contact with that has some type of illness, I wanted to tell them if I could, what I was doing. And then in November of last year, I said I wanted to do something. I wanted to do something bigger than just telling people here and there. So I spoke to the ministers here and the leaders in the church, and I asked if I could do this, and they said, good, this will be something great for the community. We can help some people. If we can help some people, why not? Let's try it. So I started reaching out to various vendors, and I don't know, stuff just started happening. I could not believe it. Talk about faith. I just didn't realize how I saw it working. Everybody I asked to do something, they did it. The vendors, the presenter, the sponsor, they all did it. And it just kept happening up until even people in another state, when it came to getting the supplies, the booklets. I was on the phone and this person said, what, this sounds like something really good. He gave me a big discount. After I got off the phone, I'm like, God, it's good. I didn't expect that, but that's what this is about. This is where we're at, and I want to start off with our first presenter. This lady, I met, I never met her. I'm meeting her today for the first time, talking about the internet and things. I found out about a product that she has, and she's going to talk about arthritis. This is something that so many people have. Her name is Marge Berger. I'll read her bio. For the past 19 years, Marge has been the developer and owner of a company called PermaHealth Incorporation, an internet marketing site. For many years, she was a nutritional consultant, working with patients referred to her by their doctors. As one of the first paramedics trained in New Jersey, Marge worked in Newark and went on to become a paramedic instructor and an advanced cardiac life support instructor. While coordinating the hospital-based mobile intensive care unit, one of the products that Marge Company distributes is designed to cure arthritis. She is here to discuss the product as well as information about arthritis. Let's welcome Marge Berger of PermaHealth Incorporation.
All right. Thank you, Brenda. You're welcome. All right, now the one thing, Brenda, you gotta do for me, honey, is that you're gonna wave your hand when I got about 2 minutes left, because I'm known to be just a long talker. I'm so blessed to be invited to come here. You have no idea. When I go out and I speak, the first thing I have to do, because I tell you all the things I'm not supposed to tell you, is say, is there anybody in this room who is currently working, employed by the FDA or the FTC? Because by law, they have to let me know. None of you work for the FDA. Oh, we can have a good time. Here's the thing. I have learned everything that I've learned the hard way. It's the best way. Didn't most of us learn it the hard way? And one of the things that happened to me about, I want to say 12 years ago, is I did get in trouble with the FTC. They said, you can't say you can cure arthritis. I said, but I can. Not me, the product cures it. And they're like, no, that's illegal, you can't do that. They gave me a big head to fill it out, all this silly stuff. So I'm going to tell you that I found a product that I won't say it cures arthritis. It takes away all the symptoms, so what's the difference? No, it doesn't. It really doesn't matter. There are 40 to 50 million people in the United States with arthritis. If I honestly had the money to give everybody a bottle, I would. We would drop our health care costs and a lot of the other problems. Arthritis is a horrible, crippling disease. All of you know somebody that has arthritis, don't you? I mean, is there anybody in here that never heard of anybody that has arthritis? Half of you in here probably have it. Some of you think, I don't want to say it's arthritis, it's just I have trouble getting up in the morning because I'm stiff and things hurt in my feet if I'm on them too long. All those things are arthritis. You can get rid of it in a couple of 2 bottles. If you take 2 bottles of this product, over a period of 3 months, by the end of 3 months, it should all be gone. If it isn't, I want you to call me up and ask for your money back. I have given money back to customers for the last 18 years. I literally give money back to 8 to 10%, and I know because my husband keeps all these statistics. And we have given back money to 8 to 10% of our customers. Now, you know any drug that's approved by the FDA only has to work for 40% of the people in the test. When they do clinical trials, 40% it helps them. It can be an approved drug as long as it doesn't have a lot of what they determine as horrible side effects. This works for 90 to 92% of the people. Now, actually, if anybody in here knows statistics, you know that probably another 10% of the people that I sell this product to never ask for their money back. They're too lazy, they don't need the money, they think it'll work sometime, well, they paid for it, they're, whatever. So they don't. So let's say it only works for 80%. Aspirin doesn't even work for 80% of the people who take one. And half of those get a stomach problem if they take aspirin a long time. So is this a miracle product? Absolutely. How did it come about? 1971, I'm not going to bore you with a lot of history, but it was not eons ago. 1971 at the National Institutes of Health, a Dr. Harry Deal was given a job, he was a scientist, he was given a job to give a certain strain of mice arthritis. They had an adjunct to give them arthritis so he could bring these drugs in from the pharmaceutical companies that he was given and test it on these mice. Well, he tried to give these mice arthritis. They didn't get it. He tried it again. They were called Swiss albino mice. These mice did not get arthritis, no matter what he did. Said to his boss, these mice are no good. I want mice that are normal mice that get arthritis. So he got another strain of mice. Sure enough, he gave them arthritis. But he's a scientist, his head, he kept going, wow, what happened? Why don't these mice get arthritis? They know something. They've got something in their body that other mice don't have, that we don't have. So now everybody had their breakfast. Got a strong stomach today? Okay. He tried to get funding to do the research. He couldn't get the funding. So no wonder he worked for a government agency. So he took these Swiss albino mice home to his laboratory at home and worked on it at home. Now, how do you find out what's in a bunch of mice that keeps them from getting arthritis? If you're a scientist with a strong stomach, you put 8 of them in your Waring blender and you blend them up. This is true. He did this. And then he extrapolated every single ingredient he could find in those mice and tested it. He injected it into other mice. When he got to this fatty acid ester that was in the mice called cetomyrostoliate, that's why it's called CMO. I mean, who can remember that? Cetomyrostoliate, he injected it in, and guess what? The arthritis went away. So he said, no kidding, that really works, Sedelmeier Stoli. He had arthritis. He was in these, I think he was in his late 60s at the time. So he made up a batch, injected his knees. His arthritis went away. His neighbors are going, what's with you, Harry? You're walking much better. He goes, oh, yeah, I found this thing, I made it up that gets rid of arthritis. Can I have some? He goes, well, it's an injectable. I can't, I'm not a doctor, he's a PhD. Oh, well, whatever. And he made it up for his neighbors, and he's injecting everybody's arthritic elbows, arthritic knees. It's like, it's going away. Now there's an immunologist out in California, he was in Maryland, who decided he needed to get rid of the arthritis in his knees, and his name was Dr. Len Sands. And he had his researchers look it up, and they found an article in the Journal of Pharmaceutical Sciences, March 1994. And it said, written by Harry Deal, I found something that cures arthritis, but I don't have time to study it anymore. I hope somebody picks up the baton and studies it. So this doctor asked the other one to send him some. He did. It was oily. It was horrible, smelly mess. Actually, the capsules smelled. Don't ever open them. And he injected this in his own knees, and it had been in capsules. And he said, you know what? If we could make this into a capsule that people could take instead of injecting it, and their arthritis go away, wouldn't that be wonderful? So he worked on it. He did it. I found him about 6 months after it went public. It was announced at some American Medical Association, 1994. 1995, I found it. I had just put my first computer on my desk, had no idea what to do about it, but I knew I had to market this through a computer because I had taken it to the health food store in my little town in South Carolina, and they said, well, first of all, we don't want to carry that product, it's too expensive. I said, I know, but it works and it's only once and done. They said, no, it's too expensive. And I said, well, how about if I come like on a Saturday, and I did. And I sold it soon to everybody in town who had arthritis. And guess what? I didn't have a business anymore because everybody in that little town was cured. I realized I had to sell this on the internet. So that's why the only place you can find this product is on the internet, because local stores don't want it, they don't understand it, and when they do and they sell it, everybody in town gets cured, and so they're done. Now, what really is it? It's a fatty acid ester. What does that mean? It comes from cattle now, by the way. It used to originally come from these Swiss albino mice. When I found this product for my uncle, who was 85, he couldn't use his hands, he couldn't fix his light switch, he was nearly blind, his wife was gone. I called him one day to check on him. I said, Uncle Wilbur, can I help you with anything? He said, Marge, with your background, can you fix my arthritis? I said, oh, give me something easy. He said, well, that's the only thing. I can't use my hands very much. That's when I started doing the research. That's how this is backtracking it, but that's how I found this product. And I said to him, Uncle Wilbur, then it was $185 for 50 capsules. He goes, that's okay. I'll spend that. I said, if it doesn't work, I'll give you your money back, but I don't have the money to buy that for you right now. So he tried it, and after 3 days, he called me up. He said, my hands don't hurt for the first time in 20 years. What do I do? I said, I don't know, take the rest of the bottle. So he took the rest of the bottle. He never took any more. And then we helped him move to an assisted living, and this was my clinical trial. He was a charming, charming older man, and every night at dinner he would sit with a couple more little old ladies who were sitting there at the assisted living. And he always told everybody the story about his niece who fixed his arthritis. Now, I didn't fix it, the CMO did it. And so the little old ladies who all had the same problems with their hands and their knees said, how do I get this product? He said, I'll give you her phone number. And he called me up. I said, I don't even market this yet. I just found it for you. So then I decided I better market it. And it was still $185 for 50 capsules. And these little old ladies were on Social Security, and they said, $185. I said, I know, it is expensive. Tell you what, if it doesn't work, I'm giving you your money back. They're like, okay. And so and this was in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, and in a wonderful assisted living home. Nobody in that assisted living home who spent the $185, probably about 100 people, nobody ever called me up and asked for their money back. So I'm like, okay, I got to do something with this. And so I learned how to write HTML and created a website and didn't know what I was doing, and it didn't really matter because there wasn't anybody on the internet in 1995, 96. very few people had computers, and so I was selling maybe 10 bottles a month, and I thought that was really good. I was proud of myself. But then I started talking to groups and telling people about it, and people would buy this product, and they'd tell everybody, and somebody like Brenda, and you know, I'm like, this doesn't just work for arthritis, it works for any autoimmune problem. I had people with sarcoidosis, people who had rheumatoid arthritis. Here's who it doesn't work for, because that's what everybody wants to know. Should I spend the money? Is it going to work for me? First of all, it doesn't work for everybody. Nothing does. If you have rheumatoid arthritis and you're taking heavy-duty drugs like methotrexate, sulfasalazine, prednisone, those drugs inhibit your immune system. That's how they work. This product works on your immune system. So if you're taking drugs that shut down your immune system so you don't have pain, CMO isn't going to work. But if you've never taken those kind of drugs, you haven't taken them for a year or so, and your liver is pretty good. How do I know if my liver is in good shape? Well, some people do know. If you've had a real long history of a lot of alcohol abuse, steroid abuse, football players are often take a lot of steroids, you can pretty well guess your liver's not in such great shape. So then I expect you should take a bottle of milk thistle for a couple of months and then try this product. If you smoke, it probably is not going to help you. And I found that out just by, when people ask for their money back, I would say, are you a smoker? And when they said, yeah, I smoke, started keeping records, and I found out it didn't work so well with people who smoke. I don't know why, but it just didn't. So that's what it is. Doesn't work for everybody. People say it's a fatty acid ester, and it's in butter. Ooh, you're not supposed to eat fats. Yeah, you are. You really are supposed to eat fats. Supposed to eat good fats. Supposed to eat coconut oil. You know, if you want to lose 10 pounds, it's off track. But take a spoonful of coconut oil every day. 2 spoonfuls. Good stuff for you. Real natural, good coconut oil. This does not raise your cholesterol, even though it's a fatty acid ester. I've had a lot of people who've had a high blood pressure were taking medicine, and they told me their blood pressure went down. In fact, they'd call me up and say, I kind of dizzy. I said, are you on blood pressure medicine? Yep. I'd say, you better keep taking your blood pressure, because this gets rid of toxins. We don't know how many or what for who, but gets rid of toxins. Often blood pressure is partly caused by high blood pressure by some inflammation, because almost all diseases are caused by some inflammation, heart disease, all these things. So if somebody has high blood pressure now, I tell them, you know what, you need to keep an eye on your blood pressure, because it just might normalize. You may be able to ask your doctor to lower your blood pressure medicine, so that's a good thing. Will this interfere with any of my drugs? Well, what we just talked about, blood pressure, yeah, it might interfere with your blood pressure. You might have to take less blood pressure drugs. But other than that, it's all natural. It's a fatty acid ester compound from beef. They found it in beef. They found it in sperm whales. They found it in several animals. But beef was the easiest one. And our product comes only from U.S. raised, born and bred beef. So there's no problem with the BSE, with the mad cow disease and all that sort of stuff. How long until I feel better? Everybody wants to know that. I spend this money. How long do I feel better? 3 days to 3 months. And that's the truth. Uncle Wilbur called me up in 3 days. I've had many people call me up in 3 to 4 days. I've also had a lot of people call me up in 3 to 4 days, and this is what they say. I don't feel so good. I go, well, you don't feel so good because your whole body is detoxing. Slow down on the number of capsules you're taking. We can't control what it detoxes. And I'm going to give you an example of a lady who called me up. I get all the good and I also get all the bad from my customers. She called me up. She said, your product's horrible. It's killing me. And I go, well, stop. Tell me, what do you mean it's killing you? Well, I woke up this morning. I was sweating. And she said, I looked at my pillow and my sheets. They had kind of this blue color on them. And I'm like, really? There's nothing blue in these capsules. It's all clear. I said, what do you do for a living? She said, I don't work, I'm retired. I said, well, what did you retire from? I worked in a factory. I was a factory worker. What kind of a factory? A dye factory. She had blue dye in her cells. At the cellular level, this product was working. I said, I think you're detoxing. Did you ever work with blue dye? I worked with all the dyes. Yeah, I did. I said, it's coming out of your cells. That's what that sweat is. Sweat is a cleansing mechanism. Sweat gets rid of toxins. She happened to be getting rid of blue toxins. So I was like, oh my goodness, what's this product doing? I have never had anybody have an adverse reaction that wasn't detox. So my advice to anybody that buys this product that has a whole lot of things going on, start out with 1 capsule in the morning, 1 capsule at night, then 2, and then 3. The prescribed amount, and this is dose related. This is, people always say to me, do you have samples? It's not a product you can give samples. You got to take at least 1 whole bottle, preferably 2. Because it's dose related, it works on the memory T cells in your immune system. You don't need to know how it works, just know that it works, because you don't want to be a chemist. Now, here's what happened to me. The FTC came after me and tried to shut me down and told me I had to close my website. I was a little naive. I still am about a lot of things, we all are. You know, we're all experts on a couple things, and we're very naive about everything else. I was naive about all the laws and rules. And my first website was CMO Cure. They said, you can't use the word cure. And they had gone all around the internet and tagged everybody who used the word cure and told us we were doing something illegal. And they told me that I had a product, I was advertising a product to cure arthritis, so it meant it was an unapproved drug. You cannot market an unapproved drug, and you could go to jail for that. Wow. So I had a friend in New York whose father was one of the first homeopathic doctors in this country. In fact, his father was the first one. He was, at that point, in his 80s. His father was long gone. But what he did was help companies like the ones that are here that sell products that are natural. He helped them to create their wording and their labels and everything so that they would be okay if the FTC or the FDA looked at them. So I said to him, what am I going to do with this product? I said, it's wonderful, it cures arthritis, and all legally you're allowed to say about an arthritis product is, it's a joint supplement. Do you ever go on the internet? There are how many? 3 million joint supplements, and you never know which one to take, and you spend your money and you try them, and you're like, really? Joint supplement. I said, I want to use the word arthritis. He said, we'll figure it out. Now, if you understand a little bit about homeopathy, homeopathy is exempt from, oh, this is wonderful, exempt from FDA and FTC regulations. They don't have to play by any of the rules because they were here first. They were grandfathered in. So when you go in a health food store and you see homeopathy remedies, those little pills and little things, and it says this is for a cold, this is for flu, this is for arthritis, because all those things are now classified as diseases. But if you have a homeopathic product, you don't have to play by the rules. So he said to me, here's what you do, Marge. We're gonna make you homeopathic drops you can put under the tongue that actually has 5 ingredients in that work kind of like aspirin. It will stop arthritis pain for a short period of time. And he said, here's what we're gonna do. You create a little box, you put them together, now you have a product that on the box you can say arthritis because it's got a homeopathy product in it. So I'm the only person that I know of that has an arthritis product that I can actually legally say arthritis. Now some of them may be saying it, but they haven't been caught yet. Because mine says, right here on the bottle, adult arthritis pain reliever. Perfect. But it's the HPR little blue bottle that's the pain reliever, and it says that, but you have to read it carefully. So I created that product. Everybody else was sent off the internet because they didn't want to get in trouble with the FTC. And I continue to market. So I've done it for 18 years. This particular product, now I have a few others that when you come, I'll show it to you. One of them, and I'll tell you this quickly, I am not going to tell you that this cures cancer, but I will tell you I was able to cure my own breast cancer in 4 months because I didn't do anything conventional except get a diagnosis. And then I worked with a stem cell enhancer, SE2, which increases my stem cells coming out of my bone marrow, probably the hip. Every time I took 2 capsules, it increases my circulating stem cells by 3 to 4 million. And that they can say because it was proven in a clinical trial. So I called the scientist who made it, and I said, what do I do? I have breast cancer. He goes, oh, Marge, don't worry about it. He said, take 15 to 18 capsules a day. I'm like, ugh. Not only was it a little bit expensive, 15 to 18 capsules a day, And I had another doctor who said, he was an MD, but he was doing natural medicine. He said, we're having the best results with cancer with IV vitamin C. I did 5 weeks of IV vitamin C. I took 15 to 18 capsules, increased my circulating stem cells. I cleaned up my diet. I got rid of some of my stress because cancer is not a disease. That don't make any sense to a lot of people. Cancer is not a disease. It is a symptom of something that isn't right in your body. Get your body right. Get your immune system normal. Get everything working right. You may need chiropractic, you may need whatever. But trying to fix and fix a cancer, which is bringing wellness back into your body. First of all, we never fight any disease. We don't fight arthritis. We don't fight cancer. Mother Teresa said, don't ever take me to a war hoopla, but bring me to a peace rally. So what we do when we are sick is we work at bringing wellness back into our life. I had a friend who came over to me and said, I never want you to tell me you're fighting cancer. We don't fight. We bring wellness back into our life, which is a whole lot of good things that you will figure out that you need with the help of other people that are positive, upbeat, a little bit knowledgeable. You don't go out there and buy everything that you see for this can help cancer. That doesn't work. You need a real holistic MD, somebody to work with. I didn't do this by myself. I sat and listened. I actually read a lot of books, took it all in my doctor, and he poo-pooed everything I picked. He had a reason for everything I had chosen, but he said, no, I don't want you to do that because I don't want you to do this one. I said, what do you want me to do? He said, IV vitamin C. We're getting the best, best, best. Now there's another vitamin C out there, which is made by a company called Live On Labs, and that one is it's wrapped in a molecule so that it gets past your digestive system into the cells. The doctor that created, Dr. Thomas Levy, says it's just about as effective as the IV vitamin C. I don't know if that's true, but he said, you know, I could probably just do that, which is less expensive. So the game, if you're trying to fight a disease, is find out what actually is working, look at the scientific studies, and then you want to find the cheapest thing you can find to fix whatever your problem is. You don't need to, I mean, I was told to go to all these fancy clinics. I didn't have that kind of money. You can fix most things at home. And you can always, I know I'm giving you a lot of information. My card is out there at my table. You can always email me and ask me questions about the things that I've told you. But here's the big thing. When you email me, I want you to put Trenton Church of Christ on the subject line, because I get about 300 emails a day, and I do go through my junk mail, and I try to eliminate, but if you want me to be able to see your email and respond, just put the name of the church on it, and I'll go, boing, I know I talked to that person. And you can ask me questions, and I will give you my best answers with the products I've worked in. In my 75 years, I've just had a little bit more of life than most of you. And so I've been through a lot of things. What I've learned from a lot of mistakes that I've made, and I try to always learn from them. So the only place to buy this stuff is on the internet, and that's the reason, is because health food stores really, really don't want it. How much is it? That's the other thing. Okay, $69.95 for a bottle, $124.95 for 2 bottles. If you try 2 bottles and it doesn't work, I give you your money back. And I don't give very much money back. The last couple of weeks, nobody's asked for their money back. I sell about 100 a week in this country. I sell it in other countries. So is it going to work for you? I have absolutely no idea. Is there a good shot that it's going to work for you? Yep, it's going to work for a lot of things, because it just happens to work on your immune system. Before Dr. Sands died, he and I would talk. I used to go visit him. He had a clinic in Tijuana. He actually cured my husband, by the way, of prostate cancer. He made a vaccine for him. And when he was in his 70s, he's now 88, plays tennis 3 times a week. He made a vaccine and put it under the skin on his arm. And he said the vaccine makes little Pac-Men that go in and they attach themselves to the cancer cells. And now the immune system says, ooh, that's an odd thing. See, one of the reasons the immune system has a problem with cancer is cancer cells are made in your body, so your immune system, unless it's really tuned up, your immune system looks at it and says, it looks a little odd, but I'm bypassing that. So if you take and make a vaccine and attach something to it, now it looks like a real odd duck. Doesn't belong in there. And that's how he got rid of prostate cancer. You know, what was that, 18 years ago? So there's a lot of good things. You can get rid of almost anything. My closing statement is this. The human body heals itself if you give it the right tools. That's amen. That's it.
And I know you want to thank you too. So. Okay, moving right along. The next presenter, Kay Sade Deans, my youngest daughter, known to most as Sade. She's a member of the Trenton Church of Christ. Also, she's the communication coordinator for this whole program. She did all the communication stuff, all the literature, all the books, CDs, everything. She did it. And she was really calm about doing it because I would come to her, Sade, I need this, Sade, I need that. And she would do it, you know, probably afterwards she was talking about me, you know. But Sade also, she's studying to become an audio engineer in television and music production. I wanted to have some young people as presenters and to take part in planning because this will offer them a better chance to be healthier when they grow up. And Sade was like the last person standing. She hung in there. She actually selected her own topic, and I'll let her tell you why she selected this topic. But let's welcome Sade.
I'm Sade, Kay Sade Deans. I want to thank you all for coming today to be here to learn with us about health and how we can improve our own. And I'm not a doctor. I don't yet have any post-secondary educational degrees or anywhere near as much experience as the presenters here today. But I like to read and learn new things and test ideas to see if they're true. So I'm pretty much like a holistic health guinea pig, and I'll tell you why in a little bit. So I'm going to talk about the ailment I'm most familiar with, and that is excess mucus. So in my presentation, I'll be quoting from two books. One is the Acid Alkaline Food Guide, written by Dr. Susan Brown, and the other is the Mucusless Diet, written by Arnold Ehret. So I grew up in Ewing Township, not far from Olden Avenue, probably like a 2 or 3 minute drive from Olden Avenue. And anybody familiar with this area knows Olden Avenue is like the main strip for fast food, junk food, everything. It kind of starts down by, KFC around here, go down a little further, Burger King, go down a little further, you get the Wendy's, and you keep going down and you get to like McDonald's, and then Dunkin' Donuts, and then that's right by the high school. So that was kind of the thing in high school, like to go to McDonald's after school was over, and then before we get to school, stop by Dunkin' Donuts or Subway and get some cookies, So I also grew up in a household where we didn't cook much. We were always on the go between my dance classes and my piano classes, viola lessons, a lot of music rehearsals, hair appointments, just traveling in and out of town. I went to a lot of different summer camps. And ironically, probably half of our time that we were traveling was to doctors' offices. And I had doctors from Lawrenceville to all the way to Hamilton, all the way to Skillman, New Jersey. So our logic was, it's going to be a 40-minute drive. We never took the highway anywhere. So we're going to get hungry on the way to the doctor, pick up something to eat. In the morning for an early appointment, I would say, let's go to McDonald's and get, McGriddle or something before my doctor's appointment. And then when we would leave, let's stop at Wendy's or Long John Silver's and get some lunch, and eat on the way home in the car. I also took dance and piano classes over by Scotch Road, and there were a lot of restaurants around that area I like to eat at pretty much before or after every single practice. And it got kind of so bad that when we would pull up in the restaurant driveway, the owners would know my order. So they would see the black Toyota pull up in the driveway, and they would put in my order for chili dogs and fries and all that, and then I'd get in and they say, don't worry about it. Or we pull up in Wendy's and the guy in the drive-thru would just say, just go to the second window. And this happened a few times. I guess that's how often I went there. And I could eat a full rack of ribs and a plate of fries and entire dessert and a smoothie when I was 12 years old. And I can put down 4 chili dogs, 2 orders of fries, a root beer float. That's like a big mug of root beer with a big glob of ice cream in it. I could eat that when I was 14 years old without stopping for air. And I probably can eat, those Carvel ice cream cakes, like the personal ice. I can eat one of those by myself. I don't though anymore, but I would. And I would sometimes go back to the same restaurant for lunch and dinner in the same day and get the exact same thing I ordered. So I was really overdoing it, and I ate like this probably from the time I was out of elementary school, maybe out of kindergarten even, until I was about 16, just getting progressively worse. And unlike many people, I didn't gain weight from the way I ate. Some people think that being skinny automatically means you're healthy, and there's nothing wrong. But there were other consequences, like I had very bad asthma and terrible allergies. And I can't remember what word my pediatrician used one year when I had an allergy attack. I remember how it sounded though. He said that I had the worst case of allergies he'd either seen that year or in his career. So either one was pretty bad. There was some mornings I couldn't open my eyes. I couldn't go to school. I wake up and there's, snot and stuff all over the pillow, and it was just yeah. So the metaphor I like to use is I was a human faucet of snot. And in gym class, I had to get a doctor's note, through every grade, excusing me from all track activities because I couldn't even participate from all the mucus in my lungs and all the congestion in my throat. And I would get winded after one of those 50-yard dash, 50-meter dashes. And people would wonder how I looked so in shape. And, they probably thought I was lying or just trying to get out of participating. But, until they saw me doubled over, trying to catch my breath, having sharp pains in my throat because of, all this mucus in me. So I woke up some nights out of my sleep because I couldn't breathe. And a lot of times I had to just walk around everywhere breathing through my mouth because I couldn't breathe through my nose. I had too much congestion, and I just thought that was normal. So I know the feeling of pretty much gagging on your own phlegm and constantly feeling like you have to swallow just to clear your airways. And I know what it's like to walk around with a pocket full of tissues, tissues falling out, have people wonder if what you have is contagious. And, asking, not wanting to be near you. It's very unsanitary. So I wasn't satisfied, just living with it, and I was trying every single thing that my doctors were prescribing me. And I've taken, most of the popular allergy medicines. I've taken Allegra, taken Zyrtec, taken Claritin. This before any of them were over the counter, so I think they might have been a little stronger. Taking Nasacort, Nasonex, those are the sprays that you have to squirt up your nose a few times. That's really uncomfortable. I tried Mucinex, the over-the-counter drug. That didn't work. I tried Vicks Vapor Rub. The stuff you rub on your face is like menthol or something. I tried a lot of saline sprays, and none of that stuff really worked. And I'm like, I'm only in maybe middle school, high school when I'm doing this stuff. I'm just thinking, I just got here on Earth. So why, am I so sick? And why am I a constant patient for these doctors? And I have a little pill case, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday with my medicines like an old person, and I'm just wondering, why do I need so many drugs? And I tried putting a humidifier in my bedroom, had a steamer next to my bed, using the allergen-free laundry detergents, and staying away, from animals if people had pets, and staying away from the perfume aisle in the mall, just walk through the clothes, and didn't buy any scented lotions. And all of that did absolutely zero for what I was trying to do. And I don't mean I didn't feel better, because I felt better temporarily just in time, until it was time for my next dosage. So the problem was I couldn't stop the mucus from coming back. So that was because all of the medicines and techniques that my doctors were telling me about, they were only fixing the symptoms, and they weren't solving the root of the problem. So why all the mucus, and where was it coming from? This was answered thoroughly by Arnold Ehret. He was a German professor of design and a naturalist, natural healer. What happened to him was when he was in his early 30s, I think, he was diagnosed with a heart problem. He's German. I think he was actually from a town in Germany called Black Forest. So that's ironic that our sponsor is Black Forest Acres. But he was diagnosed with that, and he ended up taking a trip to Algiers in northern Africa, and he only lived off of the vegetation and the fruit of the area of the native land over there. And he started experimenting with fasting and their dietary habits versus, the European or the Western world's dietary habits. And he ended up curing himself, and he ended up also curing a lot of other people through his fasting method. So he states that there is no man in existence in the Western civilization whose body has not been continually stuffed since childhood with cow milk, meat and eggs, potatoes, and cereal products. No man today without mucus. So I learned that mucus is one of our body's defense mechanisms. We all have some of it in us. Some areas it serves as like a protective lining. In other areas it might form over an infected area or under a blister to help our body in its healing process. And most commonly we know it to show up in a cold or the flu or allergy season. And there's a widely accepted idea that colds and flus come merely from an infection that you get from someone else. However, Arnold Ehret countered this theory by believing that sickness comes when our body is full of toxins, waste, and of course excess mucus. He states that a cold is a beneficial effort to eliminate waste from the cavities of the head, the throat, and the bronchial tubes. So when your body senses toxic threats, it attempts to clean itself out, often through eliminating the waste and impurities through this excess mucus. It is the body's way of biodegrading or breaking down these toxins and acids. Our bodies are designed to heal themselves, as Marge just told us earlier, and that includes flushing out the irritants and waste. So we'll call that the elimination process. So a lot of doctors dismiss this, and they'll just diagnose us with things like sinus infections or postnasal drip or just general allergies, and we're told to take prescription and over-the-counter drugs to clear up the mucus. But if you try to pull a weed up and you don't get the root and you just snap it off, it's just going to grow back, sometimes bigger and even uglier. So if our only aim when we have a cold is to dry up all the mucus, it'll provide relief, but only until our body's next elimination process. So it'll make you feel better, but the problem's going to keep coming back as long as you live. And of course, having to blow your nose all the time can get annoying, unsanitary, disrupt your sleep like it did mine. But there's another problem. All of this mucus is clogging other areas of our bodies. So that includes our bowels, our lungs, our kidneys, our stomachs, and even our eyes. Arnold Ehret even said that the mucus could affect your vision by all the congestion. And he termed it constipation. And he said that it leads to a malfunctioning of these body parts and an onset of disease. So it starts with a runny nose, and then you start getting the thicker phlegm, the excess mucus. You start seeing cysts develop. I even had a few cysts that I had to get removed. Then you start seeing the tumors. And then eventually you'll see like the full-blown disease starting to form. And Ehret states that every sick person has a more or less mucus-clogged system. Such mucus being derived from undigested and uneliminated unnatural food substances accumulated from childhood on. So he linked his discoveries about mucus to his observations of something called the acid-alkaline diet. So what do those mean? We all remember the pH strips in science class where you would take a little piece of paper and you would dip it in a liquid or something and you see what color it changed. And you would tell if it's an acid or a base. So it's pretty much the same thing with the acid and alkaline concept. If the pH of our body is, meaning the fluids in our organs and our tissues, is too low or too acidic, disease will set in, and if you don't have any alkaline substances to restore the balance, you can start to get sick. So Dr. Susan Brown, who wrote the Acid-Alkaline Food Balance book, she states that the term pH was originally defined in 1909 by a Danish biochemist. Literally meaning potential for hydrogen, pH is used to indicate the concentration of hydrogen ions in a fluid. Since dissolved acids are what produce hydrogen ions, we know that the more hydrogen ions there are present, the more acidic the solution will be. Therefore, by showing the concentration of hydrogen ions, pH also indicates whether a fluid or compound is acidic, alkaline, or neutral. So that's why the measurement of pH in our fluids and our tissues allows us to determine whether our body is in a state of acid-alkaline balance. So I heard my dad explaining to one of the brothers earlier that the pH starts on a scale of 0 and goes up to 14, with 7 being neutral, water having a neutral pH. And our bodies are made up pretty much mostly of water, 70-75% of water. So our pH should kind of closely resemble that of water. And when it gets too low, when it gets too low under 7, that's when you start seeing these sicknesses form. So the diseases, they've been scientifically shown to thrive in that acidic environment, but the opposite, they've been shown to die off in an alkaline environment. Dr. Brown informs us, because proper pH is essential for the performance of so many vital functions, your body has a built-in set of mechanisms that constantly work to maintain proper acid-alkaline levels. But as hard as it may try, the body cannot always achieve and preserve proper pH. When an individual eats a diet that's largely acidifying, as is so often the case in the Western countries, the body is forced to carry out its many functions in an unhealthy acid environment. All too often, the result of this situation is a variety of health disorders that over time can lead to the development of chronic degenerative disease. So the biggest factor we have in determining how acidic or alkaline our bodies are is the way we eat. And a lot of people don't want to hear that food has to do with anything, but it does. So the foods we put into our bodies and how our body chemistry responds to the breakdown of these foods is what determines our pH. You can pretty much divide our food selection into two groups then, acid and alkaline. Meaning some foods create an alkaline state in us and some foods make our bodies more acidic. So we're not talking about the makeup of the actual food here. Like you might think, okay, a lemon and lime, they're citrus fruits, they have citric acid. But when we eat those, they make our bodies more alkaline. So we're going to call those alkaline foods. So we're looking at how our body reacts to them more so than the foods themselves. So foods that we like dairy, meat, wheat, things with gluten, processed and sugary foods, fried foods, soda, and the like. All these make our bodies much more acidic. On the other side, foods that a lot of people don't like to eat, like dark green vegetables, kale, collard greens, broccoli, asparagus, kelp, they make our bodies more alkaline. So if we want to become less acidic, we're going to have to eat less meat, fish, and dairy, and we're going to have to lay off some of the sodas and the processed foods and refined sugars. And we have to start making alkaline foods the bigger portion of our diet. So don't let this overwhelm you, because even where I work at, some people can go through 3 pots of coffee in a day, and the coffee makes up about this much of the cup, and this much is filled with the creamer, with 20 grams of sugar in it. So the point is we're trying to maintain a balance, but the balance is going to look a lot more like 70-30 than it does 50-50, with the 70 being the alkaline foods, the spices, the roots, certain nuts, the fruits and the vegetables, and the 30 being the acidic foods that we like. So that means that even the food pyramid that they've taught us, our entire lives in the education system is backwards. Because if the alkaline foods are supposed to make up 70%, what's our food pyramid say? It says the sugar is up here, then the meat and the dairy and all that, and then the grains. So you have that whole section, and then you have this little chunk here for the fruits and vegetables. So that it actually should be backwards. So all this, what does it have to do with mucus? Think of it this way. If we don't feed our bodies the things that will produce the harmful acid waste and byproducts, it won't have to fight these things off. So if we stop instigating a fight between our bodies and the toxic waste created by eating all these foods, our body won't have to defend itself as often by creating all this excess mucus. This leads us to the conclusions that certain foods can be avoided to prevent getting the excess mucus, and other foods can be eaten to eliminate whatever mucus we already have. So in your booklet, whether you got the physical book or the digital copy, I put a chart in there that I personally use when I'm keeping in mind the consequences of my food choices. So the chart shows foods that create mucus and foods that eliminate it. And you can find this on Google like I did. After reading the book, I just wanted like a shorter, more abridged version of it. But be careful if you find a chart that says, chocolate chip pancakes are alkaline, because it's still the internet. you'll notice that most of the foods on the side that create mucus can be grouped into two categories. You have the starches and the breads, meaning the wheat, the crackers, the noodles, other types of pasta, corn products, and especially pretzels, which are particularly not good because if you think about it, when you bake cookies, you usually have a sheet of dough and you'll roll it out and you stamp, cookies out of it, and you'll bake them and you maybe eat a few at a time. So I won't name the company, I won't name the store, but you know how they make pretzels. If you've been to Quaker Bridge Mall, that's where I used to go, and they'll take the entire sheet of dough and they'll roll it out and they'll roll it up and twist it around and bake it, bring it out, dip it in some butter and stick it in some cinnamon sugar, and that's your pretzel. So you're literally eating the entire sheet of dough that you could have made 12 cookies out of. So then you have the refined sugar and the processed foods category. So that includes the cookies that you could have had, the jellies, jams, icing, cupcakes, soda, the sugary juices that we think are fruit juices, but it's really just, if you let it evaporate, it would be sugar. Vending machine snacks, the gummy snacks, fruit roll-ups, breakfast tarts, and desserts from the frozen food section. And I could go on and on with that because those things were like my favorite part of the grocery store. Like when you walk into the grocery store, before you even get through the automatic doors, there's a big display of pies and on sale like bagels. And then you walk in and you see the vegetables back there, but first you see all the cookies with the pink and yellow icing for Easter season, and you see all the tarts and the muffins and and the big cookie cakes. It's a big cake made out of cookies. I could also eat one of those by myself. I used to do that. So we have so many of these food products in our houses that are on the cause mucus side and the acidic side, and we don't realize how addicted we are to these foods. And if we're not addicted to them, we're crippled by them, because some kids like myself, even though I learned better when I got older being in a healthier environment, some kids, if not most, in America are going to be, relying on those foods because they don't know how to cook without the box having microwave instructions. So they're going to be now growing up living off of these prepared and refined sugar products. And it's convenient, but it's unnatural, some of the ingredients that they're putting in these processed foods, and even the processes themselves that the foods undergo. So, the chemicals and the key ingredients you find in stuff like hair removal cream and paint remover and chlorine and yoga mats. Even recently, I heard someone say there was a company making food products with material that they put in yoga mats. So they're putting this in the food, and we're eating it, on a daily basis, multiple times a day. Sometimes, there's more than one kind of prepared food in our meal. And if you're eating a TV dinner, like I used to, then it's the entire meal. So these ingredients, they're not natural when our bodies are going to ingest them. So how else do we expect our bodies to react when we're stuffing it with these unnatural things other than to reject them? So the bright side is the side with the alkaline foods that can restore our pH balance and eliminate some of this mucus and waste inside of us. These are obviously going to be the fruits, vegetables, certain spices like ginger and cinnamon and turmeric. A lot of people don't know what turmeric is. It's just another spice. They use it a lot in curry, in Asian foods. It's used in Spanish rice, and it's an anti-inflammatory spice. It'll clean you out, just like garlic and onions and those kind of things. So when you make these foods the larger portion of your diet, it allows you to raise your pH. So when I did this, it meant less time spent by my body trying to break down and flush out all this waste in a flash flood of snot, everywhere I went. And it meant I didn't have to feel congested when I talk. If any of you know the feeling of having phlegm stuck in your throat when you're trying to, have a conversation with somebody, it's really not conducive to interact with anybody. And you just don't want to open your mouth, wherever you are. And it means that now, after having been on almost every popular allergy drug since I was little, I now take no medicines and can live with no side effects. And I still remember the look on my allergist's face when he told me I didn't have to take any more of my allergy and asthma medicines. So that's more money in my pocket that I don't have to spend on weekly and monthly co-pays and prescription refills and follow-up visits and checkups. And it means that by changing how I ate, I significantly lowered my body's chance of becoming more clogged, more waste-filled, and eventually diseased. And being that I was brought up in the typical Western environment, you know, of vending machine snacks, and you know, at my job, they're always wondering, when is the vending machine company going to come back and refill the vending machine up? We're out of Tasty Cakes. And, you know, just being around all that and the ready-to-eat meals and the triple cheese pizzas, you know, there's always a pizza commercial on TV these days for some reason. And the ice cream with the chocolate sauce and sprinkles. It's still a task for me, you know, every day to weigh my outcomes of my choices. But I can 100% say that applying the things I just told you about worked for me. And just a change in diet took me from perpetual doctors and pharmacy visits to taking absolutely no drugs whatsoever. So if you have the same problem that I had, I would strongly suggest you look over the chart in the booklet or on the CD, and you evaluate the way that you eat. I know a lot of people will, you know, when you start talking about health, I eat healthy. So, but you need to weigh that against the reality and maybe against this chart here and see, you know, how acidic your diet actually is. And once you start seeing, you know, the change in your diet and you're seeing that eating right just works, then you should probably share what you're experiencing with someone else who needs it. And when you're tempted, you know, to just give up on eating healthy, and you get that little voice that says, you know, well, we're all gonna go, so if I'm gonna go happy. Don't think like that, because it's not just about improving your own quality of life. There are other people that need to see this example and to hear, you know, this information. And you know, when you're feeling better and you can get out of bed in the morning and you can breathe, then you're able to help someone else. So how are you, you know, what's the benefit of you even being here if you're just, you know, going to make yourself sick, you know, through ways you could prevent doing and just saying, you know, it's my life. I want to, you know, eat what I want to do and, you know, do what I want to do, eat what I want to eat. And, but it's not helping you and it's not helping anyone else. So by improving our own health, we'll be able to help others in need. And you just have to remember that nothing tastes as good as being healthy feels. That's my presentation.
Sade? Okay. Wow, so if we make our body less acidic, then we can have less illnesses.
Yeah.
That's what I heard. Okay. Thank you so much for that. All right. Now we're going to get to our next presenter. And let me just read. She's Erica Brown. She's a nutritionist. Oh, don't we need a nutritionist? She's also a wellness coach, a personal trainer. She's the founder of Fit and Well Coaching. She has a degree in nutrition and exercise science from Virginia Tech and is currently working on her master's in nutrition and wellness. She also is a nutrition professor at Mercer County College. I'm so happy to have you here. So please, let's give it for
Thank you so much for the introduction. And I have to start by saying, Sade, that was an awesome presentation.
Thank you.
I was just sitting there, thank you. I mean, I was sitting there just like, yes.
Yeah, I saw.
You're so right, you know, and it's because I've experienced some of the same things that you have experienced, which is, you know, what brought me to where I am today also. Like you know, and like most of us here, we've just been exposed to so much fast food, and you go in the grocery store, it's just like exactly like you were saying. And I remember as a child eating a bowl of chocolate ice cream every night, sprinkles every night, literally, before I went to sleep. Those TV dinners that you were talking about.
Yep.
You know, so, and I managed to stay healthy because I was an athlete, so I was pretty active, so I always stayed, or I thought I was fairly healthy. Until I got to college, and I didn't start playing sports until the end of my freshman year. So that beginning of freshman year is when I really started to see my health change. And I had no idea about nutrition, even though I was an athlete, which nutrition is really important when it comes to being an athlete and just everyone in general. But I was eating the food on campus, and Virginia Tech, if you don't know, is one of the top 10 dining services in the country as far as they have the best tasting food, and they have all-you-can-eat buffets. And I used to get this quesadilla, and I didn't know until they came out with the nutrition facts that it was about 1,000 calories for the one quesadilla, and I was like, I used to eat that all the time. So, not knowing is one of the problems with when you're just eating and you're not knowing what's in your food, you're not knowing what's, how much calories, and I'm not all for calorie counting, but just the knowledge of where your food's coming from is really important. And I started to see my body change, and I started to see my health change, my skin change, and I thought, I'm an athlete, I play lacrosse, and I really feel like I want to play well, I want to be healthy, and I really that's when I changed my major to nutrition, which was the best decision I think I've ever made. Learned a lot in college, but learned even more after, with just through all my experiences and getting more into the holistic side. And I had some health problems also that spurred me to do nutrition. The acid thing is a huge problem. And I actually have a condition called, or I did, it has a long name, it's called eosinophilic esophagitis, which is EE for short. And it's actually when your esophagus gets inflamed. And this is from eating a lot of high acidic foods. And they tried to put me on antacids and medications, and I really didn't want to be on medications that would basically kill my natural stomach acid. So I took the alternative route and did pretty much exactly what you were talking about, the alkaline types of foods, more fruits and vegetables, natural supplementation, like aloe vera, for example, can soothe the intestinal tract. And I chose that route instead, and I have been perfectly fine. What happens when your esophagus gets inflamed is you can't swallow food. So I had 2 instances where I've had to go to the hospital. So it's really scary and really serious, and I'm glad that I was able to take care of that. But all right, moving forward, I'm here really to talk to you about nutrition and how to take control of your own health, and also pairing that, since I am a personal trainer, with the fitness aspect, because I really think that both fitness and nutrition go hand in hand, and if you want to see the most success, you have to pair them both together. You can eat healthy, which is great. I think that nutrition is maybe the bigger part of it, but if you sit and you're sedentary all day, especially the desk jobs, you're not moving around, you're going to have most likely lower health status or more likely to get health problems in the future. So, the exercise goes along really closely with the nutrition. And the same thing, if you exercise, but you go and you eat fast food places all day long, you really can't exercise off all that junk and what that junk is creating in your body. You can't reverse that from exercise. So really you have to have the two together. And like Sade said, there's just, in our society today, they make it really difficult. Technology is huge. I can do my work from my phone right now and respond to emails and talk with clients, without having to get up and do much of anything. And most people, as a personal trainer, at least I'm on my feet, but most people sit at a desk all day. So, with the advances of technology, combined with the easy access to cheap, processed food-like substances, as Michael Pollan, one of my favorite authors, likes to say, they're not real foods, but they taste like food. They taste pretty good. And let me tell you, the food industry is really good at knowing how much salt and how much sugar and how much fat to put in foods to make you just want to eat more and more and more of it and never be fully satisfied because you're not getting any nutrients out of it. So, taking a different approach and giving your body what it actually wants and what it actually needs instead of continuing to fill with all of these processed junk foods that you think your body's craving, you'll be really surprised that once you give your body more of those nutrients that it needs, you won't crave as much of that junk food, and it won't be as difficult as you might think it is. So, the take-home message is definitely taking responsibility. You are not a victim of the Western diet, as some people think. because you do have the power. You have the power to vote with your fork every single day by what you buy. And you'll see the food industry change. You will. It already has. More of a push toward organic foods, more of a push of people going to farmers markets. When you choose what you eat and you stop buying that junk, the food industry is going to respond to that, and they already are. I can get in and talk all day about, the hormones and the antibiotics and the meats industries, but we'll save that. You can come talk to me at my booth when I'm done. But I want you to take a look at your diet, and let's break it down. And as I'm talking here, thinking in your head, what do you do? Do you do this? Some questions to ask, because whenever I work with a client, the first thing that I do, besides getting their medical history, is go through what they're currently doing now. Because if you don't know what you're currently doing, you don't know what you should change or how to change it. I can't give advice to somebody just by saying, well, you need to eat this, 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 and this. Well, maybe they don't like any of those things. So really using the foods that you do like, or trying to find new foods that you do like, is really important, and just evaluating your own diet. So let's start with looking at your meal timing, because it's not just what you eat, but also how you eat. One of the biggest problems I see is people having a huge dinner because they're so starving by the time they get home, and when they're ready to sit down and relax, they tend to overeat at night. And I say, well, when are you eating lunch? 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, so there's a huge gap of time between their lunch and dinner. So for many people, eating smaller amounts frequently throughout the day is a good way to stabilize blood sugar levels, which blood sugar levels play a big role in our health. And they play a big role in the way our body responds and craves food. So if you look at blood sugar like a track or a roller coaster, most people in the Western society have this kind of thing going on, where they're eating a big meal, high carbohydrates, pasta, bread, rice, processed snack foods, and what happens is the body breaks it down into the glucose, which is the smallest form of the sugar, and the blood sugar levels go up. And then what happens is, without getting into too much scientific detail, the body can bring that sugar to the tissues, whether to be used as energy or if we're sitting at our desk all day to be stored as body fat, and the blood sugar levels drop down. And when it's here, when it's low, that's when we get those hungry, or you get falling asleep at your desk. If you ever fall asleep at your desk, a lot of times it's because you ate a lot of carbohydrate and maybe didn't have the balance of the proteins and the balance of the healthy fats in there too to help slow down that absorption. So that is the key, is eating consistently throughout the day. Try not to let your blood sugar drop too low, where you have those cravings, you have the drop in energy levels. By eating the right combination, we'll talk again too about nutritional balance. So looking at your nutritional balance, not just with the acid alkaline foods, because that's definitely a way to look at the balance, but also the nutrients themselves. Is your diet very heavy carbohydrate based? And are you, for somebody who's a triathlete, then that is definitely necessary. But for a majority of people who are sitting, sedentary, moderately exercising, we don't need, tons of processed, especially the processed carbohydrates. And there are plenty of healthy carbohydrates too. But balancing that with protein sources and with dietary fats is really important for our overall health, making sure we get in all the nutrients, and balancing the blood sugar levels. So meal timing, and then looking at your food quality. So not just how much you're eating, but what types of foods are you eating. Are you eating a majority of foods that are processed and packaged, that have to just be heated up in a microwave? Or, it takes a little bit of extra work sometimes to eat the whole foods, but it's really not that hard. That little extra effort can make a huge difference in your health. If you think of all the times you spend going to the doctor, you can sacrifice a little bit of time to plan ahead, go to the grocery store, stock up on good foods, and do a little cooking. Cooking can be fun, and you can still get some good. Anyone cooking here? I know we're on the go, we're go type of people and in today's society, and it can be hard, and you can find yourself eating at your desk while you're working, or eating while you're driving in the car because that's the only time that you have. And that's another problem with the Western culture, besides the food industry, is how we're eating. So taking the time, you might find if you just are able to sit down and like taste your food and enjoy your food, that you'll actually feel satisfied by the end, and you won't be like, oh, I just ate this huge thing and looking for more things to eat. So especially when you're eating in front of the TV, you find that you might get distracted, and all of a sudden that bag of pretzels and potato chips is gone, and you're still hungry. So, all right, empty calories, that goes along with food quality. Am I drinking my calories in the form of sugary drinks, energy drinks? And energy drinks is another thing that goes with the blood sugar. That we get that crash in the afternoon because we're not stabilizing the blood sugar levels. So we reach for that energy drink to boost us up, which only gives us temporary relief. Nonetheless, drains your adrenal system and has other health implications with energy drinks. But just those empty calories that really add up quickly. I mean, just one Pepsi, a large 20-ounce Pepsi from a fast food place has 250 calories. Okay, that doesn't sound too bad. 70 grams of sugar. 70 grams. That is more than 2 times the RDA recommended daily allowance for added sugar, twice in just one drink. So the sugar in added sugar is a big problem, especially in those empty calorie foods. Nutrients. Am I eating nutrient-dense foods? So if you compare calories for nutrients, for the calories I'm getting, am I getting in a sufficient amount of nutrients? So for example, a nutrient-dense food would be something like spinach, lower calorie but super high in lots of different vitamins and minerals. Whereas something like soda is higher calories but really doesn't give you any nutrients, and on top of that gives you some chemicals that your body doesn't really know what to do with either. So looking at the meal timing, the food quality, are you getting in empty calories? I've had clients that even just taking out, just eliminating soda as the first step, they see a huge difference in their health. Nutritional balance, are you balancing your proteins, carbohydrates, and fats and making healthy choices? And nutrients, I mean eating nutrient-dense foods, specifically an abundance of fruits and vegetables. So all those questions are really good questions to ask yourself as far as your nutrition aspect goes. Now we're going to switch gears a little bit to the fitness aspect. So again, looking at your own habits first and seeing what you can do to improve and maybe add some extra activity to your life. There's different components of fitness. There's a cardiorespiratory aspect, which is anything that involves the heart and the lungs and the blood and keeping everything healthy. So activities like walking, running, swimming, biking, all of those count as cardiorespiratory exercises. You have your strength exercises, so either muscular strength, how much weight can your muscles hold, how strong are you, and working those muscles. Flexibility is another one of the aspects of fitness. So, actually being able to move through life. So, being flexible, you might, be uncomfortable just bending over to pick something up. Inflexible in the hips, inflexibility in the hamstrings can cause knee problems. So, our body works as one unit. So we need to work all the aspects of fitness, including flexibility, which a lot of people leave out. And then even neuromotor exercise. So this is more functional fitness. This is more like balance, agility, coordination. You can even train to be better at those things, which always helps. So I'm going to read to you the recommendations, the most recent recommendations by the American College of Sports Medicine, and you can decide for yourself if you're meeting the recommendations or not. So as far as cardiorespiratory exercise, according to the ACSM, adults should get at least 150 minutes of moderate to intense physical activity per week. So this could look like 30 to 60 minutes of moderate exercise 5 days per week, or 20 to 60 minutes of vigorous exercise 3 times per week. As long as you get in the recommendation of 150 minutes. And they say that it doesn't have to be that long 60-minute session or 30-minute section. If you can do 10 minutes in the morning, 10 minutes in the afternoon, and 10 minutes in the evening. If it means leaving your desk in the middle of the day, which is one thing that I do recommend to many people, and going out, especially now that the weather is nice, and going out and taking a walk outside, moving the legs, getting some air, all that counts towards your total exercise time. And they point out, if you're getting discouraged, if you're not meeting these recommendations, that even if you're unable to meet the minimum, but you are getting an exercise, you will still see some benefit from that activity. So a little activity is better than no activity. As far as resistance exercise, the ACSM recommends that adults should train each muscle group. You have many muscle groups, 2 or 3 days each week using a variety of exercises and equipment. And if you're saying, well, I don't know what muscle groups there are, and I don't know all the different exercises to train, like I'm supposed to walk into a gym and just do something, well, there are people to help. There are personal trainers, there are things, guides to look at online. Don't be afraid to ask for help. Even trainers need trainers. Okay, even trainers need people sometimes to be accountable to and to push them to limits that they wouldn't push themselves. So don't be embarrassed or ashamed to go and ask for help and go out and look for a personal trainer. Okay, let's see. Getting adequate rest between resistance exercise. So when you weight lift, your muscles break down. That's how they build back up. But if you don't give yourself adequate rest and recovery in between, then you're not going to reap all the benefits. And that includes having a good diet. If you're not eating properly, your muscles are not going to recover properly, and therefore you're not going to see as good results. As far as flexibility recommendations, ACSM says adults should do flexibility exercises at least 2 or 3 days each week to improve range of motion. You should hold each stretch for 10 to 30 seconds, just to a point of slight discomfort, not pain. And repeat each stretch 2 or 4 times. And they recommend to stretch when the muscle is warm. So doing a little bit of cardiovascular exercise, like walking and then stretching, is a good idea to get the muscles warm. I always relate it to your muscles to a rubber band. So if a rubber band is cold, let's say it's put in the fridge or freezer, and you go to stretch it, what happens? Breaks. However, if you warm up the rubber band really good, it'll start to stretch and warm it up even more. It can stretch even farther and farther. Has anyone ever tried hot yoga? They raise the temperature up to 105 degrees, and you're like, wow, I'm pretty flexible in here. So, warming the muscles up first, going for a little brisk walk, and then doing your stretching will help you get more benefits out of the flexibility exercises and, allow you to be more comfortable doing it and avoid injury while doing it. And then as far as neuromotor exercise, so that's the balance, agility, coordination, ACSM recommends 2 or 3 days per week involving all of those things that I mentioned. Also things like yoga could be included in the neuromuscular because a lot of balancing usually in yoga classes. 20 to 30 minutes per day is appropriate, so not as much, but for some people, and everybody's an individual, and that's what I want to stress also. You may need more in one area than the other, so just learning what you need as an individual as far as exercise and nutrition goes is really important. So taking a look at your own diet, your own exercise habits, and saying, where are the gaps here? Where am I falling short as far as my eating goes? Where am I falling short as far as exercise? And I recommend scheduling it as exercise into your day, just like you would schedule any other appointment. That's the only way you're going to really stick to it and have a plan. Don't be afraid to have a plan, because when you're just flying by the seat of your pants, and you find yourself like, I'm not going to exercise today. And it helps to have a personal trainer at the gym waiting for you too. But that makes you have to schedule schedule exercise into your day. And many people work crazy hours, and I don't have time. Like I said, even that brisk walk getting away from your desk in the afternoon. You know, if you're a morning person, getting up early in the morning. It can take a commitment at first. It can be difficult at first. But once you start feeling and seeing the benefits from it, you're not going to want to stop doing it. So, in conclusion, everyone is an individual, and I definitely take an individualized approach when it comes to my clients. And I think that everyone has the power to take control and not be victims of the Western diet and Western society. And don't be afraid to ask for help. Thank you very much.
I'd like to welcome Dr. San, and I'm looking forward to it, so it's all yours now. Yes, you don't have to come up here.
Hello. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm very glad to see all you here, and I'm very happy to introduce myself in this auditorium in Trenton. Actually, I'm from Philadelphia, but we are good neighbors, tri-state area, so I believe that our neighborhood friendship will last forever. A couple of words about myself. Yes, I'm a medical doctor. I graduated medical school 37 years ago, in 1976. And when I graduated medical school, my first specialty was gynecology, and I was working 3 years in this field. And somehow it happened that I was specialized in fertility disorders. So all women I saw, they had the same problem, well, actually different problem, but the result was the same. They could not conceive, and they could not deliver baby. And while I was working with them using all medical stuff that was available at that time, I found that some of them was successfully treated by me, but some of them didn't have any good result. And suddenly, a couple of years later, I met few of my patients with kids. And I asked, how come? I treated you and I didn't have any result. Who helped you? And they told me that in our city, there is a Chinese doctor, acupuncturist, who treated them and everything went well. So I found that doctor. At that time, I was 28 years old. And I asked him, listen, you have to teach me how to do this. And I have to learn it. And I became his student. He taught me for 3 years. And I started to use it in my gynecology field. And yes, many women who are treated for infertility started to bring babies to this world. So that's how I switched to acupuncture. And then at the same time I found that there are a lot of alternative medicine techniques except for acupuncture, and some of them is hypnotherapy, homeopathy, medical herbalism, Reiki. So I started to learn all of them. And that's how I came to the field of alternative medicine, or how we call it, holistic medicine. And that's why I founded a medical center in Northeast Philadelphia, Viva Healthy Life. And this medical center does treatment using the holistic medicine techniques only. We don't use any medication, we don't use any irregular kind of treatments, no surgeries, nothing. Everything we do, we use natural products, homeopathic remedies, acupuncture. We have no side effects, our treatment is absolutely harmless for our patients, and a lot of our patients are very happy. So let me describe a couple things about our practice. I don't want to talk a lot about acupuncture because next person who will be on this stage is a representative of Lawrenceville Acupuncture Center, and he will probably tell you more about this specific philosophy in medicine, which we call traditional Chinese medicine, which is not only different method of treatment, but different philosophy, different approach to understanding of diseases. The other part of our treatment and the other technique that we use is hypnotherapy. And when we say hypnotherapy, most of the people think about stage hypnosis, because that's what people know. The hypnotist say sleep, the person fell to sleep, and then this person started to bark like a dog or take his t-shirt because it's too hot and so. This is the easiest part of hypnosis. And honestly, when I just came to United States and it was in the beginning of my career, I didn't pass exam for a medical doctor yet, so I needed money. That's what I did for money, because this is the easiest thing to do. And why is the easiest thing to do? Because what usually stage hypnotist does, he call 40 people from the audience, check them who is more hypnotizable, leave 5 of them on the stage, and work with these 5 people. And this is easy because they are so hypnotizable that whatever he say will work immediately. Unfortunately, in clinical hypnosis field in which I'm involved, we don't have this luxury. I cannot choose 5 people from 40. I must treat all 40 people that came to me. So I have to find the right approach to people who are not hypnotizable and make them hypnotizable. You're smiling? You wanna try? Yeah? You wanna try? Come on, come on.
Hello, Debbie.
Come on. It will not hurt.
Yeah,
It will not hurt.
I'll try. Yeah, okay, yeah, you do it and then I'll try later.
Okay.
I want to
I got some water bags.
Can you move over? Okay, I want to see this. I really want to see this.
Where do you want us?
Yeah, I want you to stand up.
Oh, wow.
Please.
Please stand up.
Do me a favor. I just did a great drawing. I want you to do me a favor and show it to the audience. By the way, take a look by yourself first. Make sure you understand what it is. You understand?
Yes, sir.
Show it to the audience. If somebody can see,
North,
just...
east, southwest.
And I will ask this beautiful lady, can I borrow your ring? That's right.
I might not want to get that back.
I will give it back to her and I will buy her one more.
Okay.
Maybe engagement. Okay, so what I do, I put this ring on this chain. All right? Do me a favor. Here. Anybody want to approach this table and be our witness?
I do.
Go ahead, Early.
Okay. That's fine.
We got 2 witnesses.
Do me a favor. What's your name? Judy. Judy, stay here. Right in front of us. Are you hand left or right? Good. Take it in the right hand and put it in the middle of my great drawing. No. Don't touch. Okay, like this. Good. Now, Judy, don't move your hands, don't do anything. All I'm asking you to do, imagine that this ring goes in the direction north and south. Just imagine it, just visualize. And I'm asking my witnesses to tell to the audience how she does it. Does it go north and south? Imagine, visualize. Whatever, not necessary, but try to see the great movement. North, south, north, south, north, south. Good. Longer. Okay, and now, let's do the same, but east, west, east, west, east, west. Look here. Don't look at her. Look here. Does it go east, west? Prove it to audience, please.
Oh, it's gone.
Okay. And now, Judy, do me a favor. Imagine and visualize. It goes clockwise. Does it go?
Moving.
Yes.
Really?
Wow.
Judy, and now I want it to go counterclockwise. Imagine, visualize it, see it in front of you, see it. Does it?
It's moving.
Really? Okay, Judy. You realist. You're done.
I've always been hypnotized.
I think you've been hypnotized.
Oh, really? Oh.
How you did it? How come it moved? Yeah, she didn't even know. Okay.
Did something just happen there?
Yeah.
You missed it? Yeah. I just wasn't sure.
All
what I
right.
saw.
Do we have anybody else who wanted to try it
Can I
differently? Differently? Yes.
Have you ever met someone who's not hypnotizable?
As I said, yes, a lot of people are not hypnotizable. About 37%.
But do you find out after you try? After?
No.
No.
No. The thing is that, as I said, clinical hypnotists do not have luxury to choose between hypnotizable and not hypnotizable people. I have to treat all of them, and whatever you saw now, Judy just asked, she wants to attend this trick, she wants to try it, so I took her. If it is my choice, I would not take her, because she is not very hypnotizable. So with her, it was a little bit difficult for me. And when I asked you first time north-south, she didn't do it. And I put a lot of my energy so that when I asked her west and east, she was already under my control. But again, under my control, it doesn't mean that I am controlling her. I believe that only God can control our mind and our souls.
Amen.
Yes. What I meant when I said that she was under my control, it means she trusted me, she accepted my instructions, and she followed my instructions. And this is a goal of clinical hypnosis. All we need, if I treat patient from drug abuse, all I want him to accept my instruction. And when I said, you are free of drugs, he should understand it, that he is free of drugs. Yes?
What other illnesses can that cure? Can it help you from not eating, or can it help you from
Yes.
get rid of a disease?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The most common question which people ask me, doctor, what kind of diseases you are treating?
Yeah.
And I usually try to explain to them that holistic medicine, naturopathic medicine, alternative medicine, it's not a specialty like ear, nose, throat, or gynecology. It's a different approach to medicine. It's a different philosophy. So, when you come to your family doctor, do you ask him, doctor, do you treat flu? Or do you treat arthritis? No, you don't ask him. You say, listen, I have pain in my right knee. He treats everything. The question is, how high is his success in treatment? Maybe at some point he decided to refer you to another specialist or another doctor, but he treats everything. Same as alternative medicine doctors. We treat everything. Yes, we have some preferences. When I do hypnosis, I love to treat people with anxiety, insomnia, depressions, PMS, weight loss, by the way, different kind of addictions. When I do acupuncture, I prefer to treat pain syndrome. So pain control in acupuncture is the best. Different kind of pinched nerves, radiculopathy, neuropathy, neuralgias, all this stuff. However, we can treat gastritis and stomach ulcer with acupuncture, and we do it very successfully. But again, I don't want to go that far because another doctor acupuncturist will take the stage in a few minutes, so I want to leave it for him. Even so, I'm also an acupuncturist, and we are colleagues. So, anybody wants to try hypnotherapy?
Yeah, I want to try, but I want to ask a question.
Yes, please.
When you're performing that procedure, whatever, why would need that chain and a ring?
Yes?
Just demonstrate to us. When you are,
Yeah.
you always have to use the chain and the ring when you're doing it with your patient, with your client?
It's my bracelet.
It's a pendulum. Actually, what he did.
Actually, it's a pendulum.
You have to use that outcome with your client?
No,
Just demonstrate to us.
if you want to try, I will do it for you without the...
Oh, doesn't matter, just curious, that's all.
No, in this case, that was the trick. That she was holding this pendulum, and the pendulum was follow my directions. Another thing that I can show to you will not involve any pendulums. So we want to try it?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, come here. Let's everybody see. No, it will be different. It will be different.
All right.
Okay. Do me a favor. Put your hands like this. No. You think? Okay. Like this. Good. And stay in front of the audience. Okay? Now, listen to me and visualize what I'm saying. Okay?
Okay.
Imagine that I have a piece of rope in my hands.
Okay.
Just think about piece of rope that I have in my hands, okay? And from this piece of rope, I will make a loop.
Okay.
And I will put this loop all over your fingers.
Okay.
And I'm trying to tighten them. Thank you very much. What? No, it's not my fault. No, it's not my fault. No. How I do it? That's my specialty. I'm a doctor hypnotist, yes. I'm a doctor. Anybody else?
I have a question.
Yes.
Now, you just hypnotized her. Can you hypnotize me now for weight loss?
Okay. The answer is no.
Oh, okay.
Because what I just did It's just a joke.
Oh.
Yeah, it was kind of joke. It's first hypnosis. Let me finish here. In order to hypnotize person for weight loss, I need about 4-5 sessions. 1 week apart each from another. And why 4 or 5 sessions? Because all I'm trying to do just create a reflex in your brain. So, according to science, it takes 28 days to make this reflex in your brain. So I need 4 procedures in each 7 days. Once in a week. To cover 28 days. But yes, the answer is I can do it, not here, because I need to do it 4 times. And each session takes about hour and a half. And I was given only 45 minutes.
Am I able to apply that joke you just did? Am I able to do that, apply that?
For yourself?
Or to somebody else?
Uh,
To myself?
okay,
Also, another question.
Yes.
Can I also apply that? I want to pass a big test?
okay. What I can do now, I can put a small code in your brain which will make you able to do the same trick with other people. Not everything else. You will not be a hypnotist. But you will do the same thing as I just did for you to other people. Be good? Yes. So I'm trying to finish. So let me finish all this stuff on a good, positive note. Welcome to our Center of Alternative Medicine, Viva Healthy Life. Feel free to pick up our flyers on the vendor table and my business cards. We are open 6 days a week from 9 o'clock in the morning till 8 p.m. You are very close to us, so if you need help, you'll be very welcome. And let me do this thing now. If anybody wants to be treated in our center, when you come first time, remind me about Church of Christ. And you will get 20% off. Right now. Yes, sir.
Do you accept insurance and Medicaid and things like that?
It's a good question, and everybody asks me. We accept it, but insurance doesn't cover.
They don't pay.
They don't pay. Again, there is a little bit of difference, which I must say. In Pennsylvania, insurance don't pay for acupuncture. In New Jersey and New York, most of insurance companies pay. So just call your doctor, call your insurance carrier, ask them, I want to go to be treated, and before that, call me and I will give you the NPI of our acupuncturist. So you call your insurance carrier, I want to go and be treated with acupuncture in Viva Healthy Life. The NPI number is and they will tell you, okay, you can go, we cover 60%. You are responsible for $20 per session, or something like that. Okay? And as long as they cover, we accept it.
Okay.
All right? And because I still have just a few minutes, I want to introduce you to you. And the newest in our area, Wellness Center and Walk, which is part of our network. And here is a beautiful woman who gave me her ring for this experiment, and she was pretty sure that I will give it back to her. So I'm surprised because I didn't have any intention to give it back. And let me give this microphone to her for a couple of minutes just to present it.
Really wasn't ready.
This is mine.
Hello, everybody. We just recently opened, and the idea of our office is actually wellness. You know, we all energy. We have an amazing technology that called Aura Chakra Imaging that actually, like I would say, like an MRI of the body, of the bones. It can actually check your energy system and let you know where the blockages are, which chakras are not working properly, how you can enrich your energy, and you get the 22-page report. It's actually a scientific report where you can see everything. And then you see our specialists that help you with that, and at the end, you get the report again, and you see the difference. We work with nanotechnology, but this nanotechnology is actually nature-driven. All the product is natural. Whatever we present there, I use for myself and my 4 kids and my 2 grandkids. So that's what it is. Thank you.
Yes, yes. We're going to do one trivia, and then we're going to move into our next presenter. You ready, Sade?
Yep.
I hope you guys were listening earlier, because
You
I
wanna
think
read
it
it?
got something to do with what was said earlier.
You want to read it?
No, you read. I can't even say it.
Okay, so if anyone remembers my presentation, what does pH stand for?
Whoever raised their hand first.
Potential for hydrogen?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right.
Potential for who?
Hydrogen.
Hydrogen. Okay. Somebody was listening here. All right. Thank you so much. Our next presenter is Dr. John Urich. John became a certified acupuncturist in New Jersey in 1986. He co-taught continuing education classes and basic acupuncture for physicians and dentists from 1986 to 1988 in New York City. He created and ran an acupuncture detox clinic for crack and cocaine abuse in 1991 in Trenton, New Jersey. He is the former Dean of Clinical Studies of Eastern School Acupuncture in Montclair, New Jersey, leaving in 2001. Ever since establishing the Lawrenceville Acupuncture Center in 1988, he has continued to treat patients full-time and now currently practice along with his colleague, Andy Snyder. I'd like for us to welcome Dr. Urich.
Thank you, Brenda. So, I want to demystify acupuncture today and try to make it very simple for everyone so they can understand how it works and what it does and how painless it is. So, I guess you don't really need to follow. There is a write-up in the handout with an overview of what I'm going to talk about. It's on about the 4th page to the end. It says Lawrenceville Acupuncture Center, and the first thing says, what is acupuncture? just to help you stay with it. So what is acupuncture? It's the insertion of fine needles into points on the body to help to balance the body to stop pain or cure an underlying disorder. And I want to show everyone, that's an acupuncture needle. I'll show you how fine.
It doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it's very fine. So people are always scared that they're gonna hurt. I'll show you. We're gonna do a little demo.
Uh-oh.
There we go. So, it says acupuncture is the insertion of fine needles into areas of the body to create balance and encourage the body to heal itself. So how does that work? It works with the energy of the body. It's something we don't grow up thinking about, but the Chinese figured out that energy exists a long time ago. And they developed Tai Chi, if anyone's ever seen that type of martial arts, all based on the circulation of Qi. And the Chinese, they didn't have technology 2,000 years ago, so they would, they watched heaven, the sun came up every day, it got warm, it created growth on the earth, and they said these are different energies. So they attributed the sun or the heat to yang energy, and the earth or growth to yin energy, and they said yin and yang have to connect or interrelate. And man's stuck in between, so somehow that energy has to flow through us. So they developed a series of energy lines that go from heaven down the back of your body to earth, and then back up the inside, on the inside of the body back to heaven, so the sun and the earth could communicate, and therefore give us vibrancy, give us chi. So it's very interesting how it came about, and they watched animal movements, and that's what a lot of the martial arts are based on. So, now what did they do? They didn't have these sophisticated needles, so they found out like certain areas on the body would help to cure a disease, and then eventually they figured out these areas relate to different organs of the body. So the energy lines, the main one that you see on the chart, there's 12, and they relate to the internal organs. So if the first one is the lung channel, we'll say, and it travels up the inside of the arm to the face, to the chest, and then, let me think how this works. Oh yeah, it flows down, and then the large intestine flows up to the face, and then the stomach channel will flow down to the earth, and then the spleen flows back up, and there's 12. So you end up with the liver channel, flows up, connects to the lung, so it's one big loop. So, in other words, if you go in a room and turn on a light switch, the light goes on over there. It's the same thing. They'll treat a point in the foot, and the headache can go away because it's the pathway. Okay? Does that make sense? Yes. So, on the first paragraph, we're still there. Very thin acupuncture needles, or heat, or massage, or cupping. I didn't bring a cup, but it's a suction cup for like muscle spasm. We'll put it on, and it helps relieve the spasm or bring circulation to the area. And all these things work to create circulation in the body, to restore the body to balance, and to create health. So the second paragraph is the needles are placed along meridians, which are these pathways where energy flows. And then there's points that we combine for specific treatments. And then in acupuncturists, we use diagnostic techniques. So there's many ways to diagnose. Mainly, we look at the tongue, we feel the pulse, and there's specific pulses for each organ. And then we come up with a diagnosis. So you come in with shoulder pain, and then I'll say, okay, your body feels pretty good, but the large intestine's blocked. Oh yes, I don't go to the bathroom every day. Okay, so we know there's some intestinal blockage, but the large intestine channel runs right through the shoulder. So then we have a hint to treat the abdomen as well as the shoulder to create a cure that lasts. Rather than just treat the pain, we can treat something underlying to balance the body so it becomes healthy again. And there's other ways, like the different seasons have different energy. Right now, springtime, so it's the season of the liver. So you see a lot of vertigo. I see a lot of patients with that, sciatica. All these things have to do with the wind or the liver or the springtime. In the summer, different diseases. It's usually spring and fall. I'll see the most diseases. And the most people come in with the same thing. Like 1 week, I saw 3 sciatica in the exact same area. They all came in. So it's interesting how nature, again, affects us. So if we stay healthy, then we can live in balance with nature. If we're eating wrong or not exercising or doing things incorrectly, not going to church, or not having a spiritual part of your life, you can get imbalance and then you get disease. So, and then along with acupuncture treatment, you'll be given basic ideas about changes to make to your diet and lifestyle. So the Chinese love a warm cooked food because the body's always 98 degrees inside. So they say put things in that are warm, it's easier. So you throw in cold things all the time, it closes the body down. Because the body's 98 degrees, think of that. When you're outside and it's 98, you don't want to be out there. It's too hot. But your body's always 98 degrees. So if you drink warmer things, not icy drinks, or tea, even room temperature water, it's much easier on the body and it creates a lot more health. And I think a lot of weight loss, if people would quit taking so much ice and so many salads, it would help them to lose weight because their body would digest things more efficiently, and then your metabolism would increase and you shed weight. It's interesting. So, of course, the needles are always sterilized and disposable, so you don't have to worry about infection. And then quickly, to become a licensed acupuncturist in New Jersey, you need 4 years of college, and then a 3-year acupuncture program, and then take the state boards. And the boards are given by the Board of Medical Examiners. And once you pass that, you can be an acupuncturist. So that's quick, and I have a website address on the bottom. If you have questions, it explains a lot more in detail. But I'd really like to open up to questions or comments about acupuncture. I'd be happy to answer. If anyone has a problem. Go ahead.
Can acupuncture actually help with a shoulder, rotator cuff problem, with the rotator?
That's interesting. Let her talk first, because Shirley and I talked before, and then I'll tell you.
Yes.
You had rotator cuff.
I had a frozen rotator cuff, and I don't even mind it. I had a frozen rotator cuff, and it was very excruciating pain. And what's so ironic about it is that I was complaining about it, and I happened to work in customer service somewhere, and the customer, I don't know, her spirit must have came down, and she said to me, whatever you do not go for surgery. Don't let anybody have you go through the surgery. So I started going through a physical therapist, and I'm talking about session after session after session. And I was not getting the relief that I was had wanted. I was flipping through a prevention magazine, and there was an article that was on acupuncture, and I started reading about it. So I said, Or my insurance company paid for so many visits for me for a year, and I decided to go to an acupuncturist. Out of 2 sessions, I have been pain free and have complete movement in my shoulder. I've had another issue in which my lower back was bothering me, and once again, I was having a physical therapist trying to deal with that. I said, forget this, I'm going back to an acupuncturist. And now I am a firm believer that when I'm in severe pain, I don't even deal with my medical doctor, I go to an acupuncturist. That's what I do.
Yeah, it really works. But what happened? She had frozen shoulders, so there was a lot of congestion, and she couldn't raise her shoulder. She's not my patient, but you see this a lot in the office. Yeah, exactly. So there's all that congestion. So by putting needles not only in the shoulder, but even there's a point mid-leg. I put it in here and I say, because it opens the channel right to the shoulder, say, raise your arm, and they look at me like, what'd you do? Yeah, it's hilarious. But it's good.
But does it, I have a very low tolerance for needles. So as far as pain, because people say it doesn't hurt. Now, and some people, I mean, I had some nerve down with those similar needles.
No,
And
EMG.
yeah.
Did you see that needle?
They said it didn't hurt, but it
That's
hurt
not
me.
EMG.
So does it hurt?
I can say that it does not hurt. Yeah, it does not hurt.
I can say also doesn't hurt.
I'll put a needle in you if you're not scared, and I'll show you that it doesn't hurt. I'll do a point right here.
No, don't feel it.
That goes
You don't
to you.
feel it.
You want to try?
Yeah.
Stay right there.
You went in nervous. You were not relaxed, that's why. You wasn't relaxed.
Try not to text because you feel the unknown.
It's not on my screen, but.
It's not like an injection.
No.
I had some in my hand because I got nerve damage.
Yeah.
It hurted me. Yes, it hurted me severely.
No, that was it.
And you can leave it. It's just the shoulder.
That's the shoulder. Yeah.
Is it okay? You want to leave it for 5 minutes?
Yeah.
Yeah, you can.
Well, that's very simple, simplistic, good for a demo. See, if you were in the office, you'd be on the table, it's much more relaxed.
Relaxing.
I would probably start
Gotta
with
relax.
that. And do some other things. She was next.
When you do the acupuncture, Betty,
Betty.
do you take the pain pills too?
You can, I mean, if you're on pain pills, I don't say stop them right away, but pretty soon you'll need less and less.
The reason I ask is I have a daughter
Yeah.
who has been in pain since November after surgery, and she is on acupuncture, but also she's taking pain pills. So I wonder, that hers for scar tissue, the way I understand it. So she should be taking both?
Well, she should be often, but how long she been doing acupuncture?
Maybe about a month.
Yeah, she going twice a week?
I forgot, I don't know how often she goes, but I can check her and see.
Yeah.
I meant to bring her back down to New Jersey.
I mean, you could call, she could call me too and ask me.
Okay, I sure will.
Anytime. It's
Her insurance pays for everything.
Yeah, good. It was an accident.
All right, I think it pays too
Or
much for her.
she's state worker.
Excuse me?
The state workers are all covered.
Well, she lives in Maryland. She works for Verizon.
You tell her
anyway.
to call me.
Okay.
I have a question for you.
A person with hip replacement.
Hip replacements are still pain, definitely.
They would have.
Definitely.
Okay,
And, yeah, we treat before the operation a few treatments. And if people are coming to help with the pain before they go, the operation always goes smoother because you cleaned it up a lot. By treating that area, you make circulation through the area. What is pain? Pain is some kind of inability for circulation to happen. The second you can help circulation, the energy moves the blood, it moves all that congestion. Once you have circulation, you can't have pain.
That's right.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
Okay, so the Chinese discovered the flow, the meridians for energy through the body. I'm curious why did somebody decide that sticking a needle in a channel is going to make an improvement, and you know what it actually does?
Yeah, there's a lot of theories, which are all going to always be theories, including aliens came and showed them. But, or an old story, somebody got hit on the battlefield in the ankle and their back pain went away. But I think it was trial and error. People, I mean, they didn't have anything. The air was very clean, the water was very pure, and people that were into meditation things probably were able to see things and start to put two and two together. But the doctor here said by accident, but really that's true, and a lot of trial and error. They saw, oh, let's repeat that. You know, there's 300 major points, but we use maybe 50 to 70 of them all the time. You see, so there's a lot of points, but you don't need them. Well, certain ones are much stronger to affect. Like we treat morning sickness, for instance, or nausea, and everyone knows about that thing you wear on your wrist. People have heard about that, but that's the point. Acupuncture is one. Very successful for morning sickness. Go ahead.
Do you have a recommendation for who one would begin to go with if they were interested? They have several things going on and they would like to investigate this type of a treatment. Do you have a suggestion on who they would first go to see how to begin the process of?
Well, most people have a physician, right? So they have blood work. They kind of know what's going on. So what?
So start with a regular physician first, like somebody from internal medicine or something like that? Or
Yeah, it doesn't. You don't have to anymore. We're primary now in New Jersey. We don't need a referral. We were certified acupuncturists until about 5 years ago. They just sent us a new license. We became licensed acupuncturists. So now we don't need. We used to need a referral or diagnosis from a doctor, which basically meant. What'd your doctor say? He said, I have frozen shoulder. Okay, I can treat you. So, but I can ascertain a lot if somebody came in without any physicians. Sometimes they need medicine, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they need, physical therapy. If you're in enough pain, you've probably seen a doctor, and then they're not going to be able to really treat it without painkillers. That's what they do. Or surgery. You don't want to jump to.
Right.
So, yeah, acupuncture is really good. I'd say it fills the gap in Western medicine. The claim to fame for acupuncture was sciatica and migraine headaches. Way back in the 70s, because Western medicine still can't do much with either. And it's fast. Sciatica's fast. And migraines, it depends. You cure some you can get much better. I mean, there's always about a 5 to 7% where it doesn't work with acupuncture and all the studies and everything, but that's a 92% effective rate. And it's usually about a 60% cure rate, and another 20% much, much better, and then 10% a little better, and 5% no change. But there's a lot of studies, 100% success rate. So, pretty effective for a lot of things.
I heard it mentioned earlier, something about the liver and something about vertigo, that kind of thing, which I'm actually experiencing that a little bit now, and I've had tests for it, and like nothing is really showing up. Oh, it's just something you have, and they give you the
anti-vertigo
thing, right?
They give you anti-vertigo, which puts you to sleep. Right.
So how is that related to the liver?
Yeah, vertigo, yes, mostly. We call it liver wind. So it can be external wind, which gets in the muscles and then it blocks the circulation. But it also, like Parkinson's, that shaking would be internal wind. So vertigo can be either externally produced or internally created from the person. If it only happens in the spring, then the wind exacerbates that underlying condition. But yeah, it's related to the wind, which is the pathogenic factor, which is like wind, cold, damp. They're pathogenic factors, external forces, that the wind affects the liver. So liver and gallbladder. And I have great success with vertigo. I've treated a lot of cases with that. Or to prevent it too. If people get it, they say, I don't know, can I just have a shot because I felt a little bit? And I do gallbladder points and liver points, mostly.
What, Sade?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Oh.
Yeah, it's about
Thank you,
5
Brother
minutes.
Matthew. You had a question?
Did you have a
One last
question?
question.
Brother Matthew, you have a question?
Yeah, Brother Matthew.
Oh.
Do your primary physician give a referral to Dr.?
Sometimes, some love it. There's a cardiologist, or internal doctor at the new Capitol Health. She sends me a lot of people because she's seen my patients and seen the changes. This one woman had open heart surgery. She was on asthma medicine and all this for years, and little by little, we took her scars away. She said that looks better than, a cosmetic surgeon did it. Because we just treated very superficially to make circulation through the scar, treated her lungs, chest, no more pain, no more fatigue. She's off, believe it or not, she's off most of her medicine, and she's 70-something. It's crazy and very positive. So this Chinese physician sends me a lot of patients. There's one on Quaker Bridge, he loves acupuncture. He sends me a lot of people. Some don't know about it. Some thinks, well, if you believe in it, they don't know enough about it. Now the doctors at medical school take electives, so at least they get exposed a little to it. It's good.
Okay.
We're good? Oh, one more.
Got one more question. What did he say?
Oh, bald head.
Oh,
Circulation
hair?
make his hair grow back.
Go your hair? Oh, does it grow hair? Yeah, in the back. It's real good.
Thank you so much, Dr.
Thank you, Dr. Williams.